Hi everyone. Oh my goodness, we've all had technical issues in the past, right? It just happens sometimes. We were live for about 15 minutes with Alexis Quintal and then my internet cut out. Sorry to everyone. Thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and get started again though. We're going to quickly summarize what we had covered and then we're going to move into our next couple of questions. We do want to hear from you, so please go ahead and share an intro below and tell us what industry you're a part of. In a perfect world, it's great for us to have a chance to customize this conversation. Welcome back, Amanda. Oh my goodness, having some technical difficulties today, but we are going to pick this conversation back up. Chanel, oh my goodness, the internet cut out. It's never happened before during a live, but first time for everything. So Alexis should be, yes, there she is. Hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know we don't have too much time. So let's go ahead and just summarize what we had covered before the internet started to give us a run for our money. Can you summarize again what a brand recipe is?
Sure, yeah. And I'll just quickly reintroduce myself too.
Yes.
I'm Alexis Quintal, and I'm a marketing and public relations consultant and entrepreneur. So I'm really excited about supporting other entrepreneurs and small business owners. And so that's why I created this this idea of like a brand recipe, which honestly could work for anybody, but that was just kind of the first target audience that I was working with on it. And really what it means is that there's three ingredients. And Gina, I liked the way that you described it too, where it's almost like you're making a cocktail. And so there's going to be that like main base ingredient to your brand recipe or to your cocktail, which is going to be your like education or your life experience and really just what you've either studied or just learned about throughout your life. And then the second ingredient, which is also, equally important, but maybe it's, the second thing that you're kind of pouring into your drink is your professional expertise. And sometimes that's different than your education background, which for me it is. So that's why there's quite a difference there in those two ingredients. And then third is a personal touch, something about yourself that makes you stand out, or just that you're passionate and excited about. Maybe you're a mom, or for me, I'm a dog mom. So, and then I encourage people to use this idea of creating your own brand recipe for your personal branding. Because as you're thinking about like, okay, how am I portraying myself on social media, or, if you have a website, or if you have a PR strategy, you want to make sure that personal brand is shining through and that you're, featuring yourself and, promoting your background and what you're great at, but also something fun about you, because people want to connect to other people. And so this is a great strategy to maybe test it out, use it as your elevator pitch as you're meeting people, kind of just hitting on those three main ingredients, and you've got a personal brand.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for summarizing that again and for sharing a little bit more about yourself. Very much appreciate you. Okay, so we have some really fab people who are tuning in, people who were on our original live before we got cut out, and some new people. Welcome. We have some photographers in the mix. We have a realtor in the mix. So right before we got cut out, we were talking about how your social media is your own PR platform.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about how we can maximize that?
Yeah. So I kind of encourage people to remember that anything that you post online, so, photos, videos, comments, that's almost like a press release, because it's something that is now like, in the digital world forever. So people could screenshot it, it can be, just kind of tied to your name and your brand. So you want to be intentional on what you post or what you say, kind of just think about, well, what impression is this going to give people? What does my personal brand really look like if you open up my social media, like whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook? I mean, there's so many options. Mm-hmm. So, not to like overwhelm you or anything, but think about how that's almost like your own PR platform, which is a good thing. I mean, it means you control your own narrative of what you look like on the digital world. So take that, take advantage of that. I think that that's actually an exciting thing, that we do have control, so it's just about being intentional.
Absolutely. Okay. And so everything we put out there is an opportunity to connect with our dream clients and build that relationship. We were also talking about the fact that now these days it takes 22 times of someone hearing about you before they take action. So everything you're putting out there is counting towards that 22 number. So what are some things that are trending when it comes to marketing and PR that we can harness the power of?
Yeah. So one thing that's trending is adding like that human touch to your marketing strategy. I think a lot of days, like I work with a lot of B2B companies and they forget that even though you're selling to another business, there's a human behind the screen or behind the phone, or, you're still talking to a human. So, in the past, a lot of B2B companies would really just focus on like promoting their product or service and just be very salesy, and it's like clearly an ad, it's just not really connecting with people. And now it's like, well, now what we're encouraging B2B companies to do is just to create more of like that human touch to their strategy. So it could be featuring who your employees are, like what great things are your employees doing, not only at work but in the community. What's going on in the industry outside of just your business, that just shows that you're reading up, like you're learning about what's going on, you're staying up to date with what's going on in your industry. Or it could be a client testimonial, and it really like showcases the experience you give people. Another thing we talked about earlier before we got cut off is like, for example, a photographer, which is not B2B, it's very B2C, but it's someone that typically on their own social media platform, they're just, promoting their work, and they're showcasing the great work that they do, the content that they create, the photos they, create. And my tip was to remember as a photographer that there's still a person behind the lens, and people are curious to learn about that person. When you are hiring a photographer, and even myself actually have a photo shoot tomorrow with one of the Babe Crafted members and photographers, so I'm so excited. But, I had to meet a few photographers and make sure that we have this connection with each other too. Again, it's human to human. When you're working with a photographer, it's not human to lens. So just remember to have your social media also focus on, who you are, what your background is, who's behind the lens. And so that really goes for any industry, any type of business, no matter who you're working with, is just remembering that we all are going through a lot of the same things right now in the world, and we want to connect with each other, whether that's digital or in person. So that's just it's a good thing to keep in mind as you're creating marketing or PR, or just thinking about your personal brand.
Love that. And shout out to Chanel for kicking off this part of the conversation and giving us a chance to use her as an example, as that photographer we're talking about. And but that applies to the realtor that's on this call. Hey girl, that applies to web designers, that applies to interior designers and bookkeepers. I mean, if you're showing your expertise, you're proving that you have the skills to do the job. Yes. Okay. But do we jive together? Do we share some values? Do we have the same sense of humor? I mean, everyone is looking for different things when it comes to booking their photographer or interior designer, but it's going to make an impact if they know who that babe behind the brand is, someone they can really connect with on a human level, like what you're saying, Alexis. So we all have to get in front of the camera. It is imperative as small business owners, giving that behind the scenes look. So how can we benefit from a combined marketing and PR approach? Because a lot of us are new to PR.
Yeah, I know. And I actually met someone last night that said they, hired a marketing company and they were doing all this great work together, and they felt like the PR aspect was missing. And she was like, I thought PR was marketing, so I thought I was going to get kind of all of that from this one agency and have that be like my, overarching marketing strategy. And so that's something I've experienced too, where I've worked at marketing agencies. We did not touch PR. Worked at PR agencies. We did not touch marketing. So that's something that I'm really excited about with my own career. And, the company that I'm planning to launch shortly is going to be a combined PR and marketing approach. And so what that means is that everything is really thought of in the same bucket. It's not siloed. It's meant to be consistent. So whether it's a press release you're putting out, a social post, or an email marketing campaign, or a Google ad campaign, it all should have a consistent story and message. And, I think that going forward, more brands and more businesses are going to start realizing that PR and marketing do go hand in hand. And I think that that's really exciting because there's just so much going on in the digital world that we need to remember to keep sometimes like keep things as tightly consistent as possible.
Absolutely. And so you teased a little bit that you're starting a new company, you're rebranding. So can you tell, I mean, that goes hand in hand with my next question, which is how can we work with you? Where can we learn more about you? And go ahead and tell us a little bit about what's to come for your company.
Yeah. So I'm really excited because I've been working now for 2 years as an independent consultant, and so my company was really just myself. So it wasn't really super scalable. Didn't if I hired employees, I wanted to move towards something that is a little bit more broad. Would allow me to really communicate what we do, but have a team. Grow into a real marketing collective is what I'm calling it. So don't want to give away too much yet, but in the next few weeks, and I will say I'm still taking clients in the meantime as I'm working on this rebrand, but I will shortly be announcing a new PR and marketing company that I'm founding, and it'll be that combined PR marketing approach. And yeah, I'm really excited. So really to work with me now, follow me on Instagram, add me on LinkedIn, and then you can also kind of follow along on as I announce and launch this new company. The other fun part too is that I'm going to treat this company like a client. So you'll see what a PR and marketing approach looks like if you follow along on what it is I'm going to be doing. A lot of the strategy will be similar as to what I would do for another business or for a client. So it's kind of a fun way to showcase that.
Absolutely. And congratulations on this new direction. I mean, this is a big shift and it's really exciting to see it come to life. And kudos to you on your brand shoot tomorrow. Can't wait to see the magic that you and Christina cook up together. We have one more question. So Chanel asked, what's the difference between PR and marketing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's kind of almost more how I picture it is that marketing is more of like that overarching branch. It's everything that you communicate with the world. And I really think that it should be really connected to your sales strategy as well. Anyone that's going out and communicating your brand, anything you put on your website, anything on your social media, that's all marketing. And the difference between PR is that it's much more focused on how you're connecting that story with the media. So, if you're a B2B company, a lot of times Forbes is that goal of yours to get your name on Forbes and to have a story written about you. That's really PR focused. So that means that you need to work with a journalist or a consultant on creating a story that Forbes would actually be interested in publishing about yourself. It's actually really fun because you get to get creative. You get to, pitch some ideas and go back and forth. And it's really almost what the difference between PR and marketing is that PR is typically not owned by the company. It's typically published in a third party website. So like Forbes, or Yahoo, or, some other news site. And what's exciting about that is it gets your name in front of thousands of other people that maybe typically wouldn't go to your website or hadn't heard about you yet. So what I love about PR is like how I've just seen it grow companies at a really fast pace, because you get one great article out there and suddenly, you have all this attention, all this brand awareness. And I find that it's even a little bit more cost effective than running like digital marketing ads. Typically, I just think it has higher reach, higher reward. So that's why I'm excited though about being able to do both at the same time.
Right on. Thank you so much for answering Chanel's fab question. And thank you, Chanel, for your great question. So I know we've got to get things wrapped up because you have another call. Thank you so much, Alexis, and everyone who's tuned in. And thank you for your patience. Cheers to maximizing PR for our businesses. Cheers to using our social media platforms as an opportunity to connect with our dream clients. And let's just keep it going. I mean, together we can learn and grow and make a big impact.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate, being a part of Babe Crafted. I've already met so many great people. And again, it's just a great way to get your name out there too.
Absolutely. All right. So, everyone, please follow Alexis, follow along with her journey as she pivots in this new direction and combines marketing and PR. And we will go ahead and publish this replay so you can revisit the conversation. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Alexis.
Bye, thanks.